All right, let's check and see what came in the mail today. Looks like we got our piston and ring, the wrist pin, the circlips for the piston ring, the gaskets, and the bearing. I guess we can probably finalize this top end on the KTM today. But here's the bike. What you see is what you get. I got this bike at a storage unit for $200. The forks are blown out. I just rebuilt those, got some seals in there, and cleaned the fork tubes up. Those are just a telescopic fork, so they're real easy. If y'all haven't done those before, there's a screw at the bottom right there that you got to take loose, and then take this top cap off, and it all disassembles. 110 millimeters from fill point for the fork oil. I use 10 weight. But anyways, just kind of wanted to show y'all what it's got doing. I guess I'll introduce y'all halfway through this top end rebuild. When I got the bike, it had no compression whatsoever. So I went the cheap route, which I know I probably shouldn't have, but me being me, I'm always doing something cheaply. But anyways, the piston ring, as you can see, it was worn. It had no compression. The cylinder looked good. Didn't have any kind of scores. Didn't have any scores, and neither did the piston. The piston actually looked great. I got the numbers off of it. This is a Echo Frank 39.48 bore. So everything looked okay. It just looked like the piston ring wore down. Obviously they do that because it's two-stroke. So anyway, I went ahead and bought a new cylinder and a new head, but I think I'm going to utilize the old one just for aesthetic reasons, and because this, I don't know, I may put this one on there. It's just it's different to me, but I haven't really decided what's going to really make sense. All right, so let's get the old piston here, and it says on the piston top here it's 39.48, so let's go ahead and verify that. 52, 50, there's 49, and that's it right there. Okay, so that's a true measurement. That's 39.49 right there, and then we'll get the new piston, see the difference in that. So roughly about the same, guys. It is roughly about the same. Hopefully y'all can see that. I mean, it's right there on the money. I think this new piston is a little bit smaller than the original KTM. A little bit of two-stroke oil. Just your basic two-stroke oil. I use that for kind of assembly of the piston. You want to kind of coat that stuff when you're putting on the cylinder, and also, you know, you want to coat that wrist pin and the bearing and all that stuff, all the movable parts for startup. Because basically, you don't want anything starting up dry. I always kick them over a couple times without the plug in, anyways, to kind of get things warmed up. And looks like we got a little bit of crud on that surface there, so I may take the wire wheel. Maybe not, because that's risking getting something down in there, which we don't want. However, for getting this bike, I mean, everything was here. It's got new tires and stuff, so that was pretty cool. This is a senior adventure, so it was just really dirty, which I still haven't pressure washed it yet. Because I just kind of didn't know what I was going to do yet. So now I guess I'm going to put some money into it. We already have. So I'll get it all cleaned up. The expansion chamber, however, is a little bit dented up. It's got a couple dents. It's got an FMF fatty on there. It looked like somebody had welded it at some point. I knocked down the welds just to inspect to see if there was any cracks or anything, which I didn't see any. But you know, if it pops up and starts pissing out again, I may take it to a bud and get him to take that up, or I may hit it with the flux core. I got that little Harbor Freight model right there, which, you know, it's Harbor Freight, man. They only work sometimes. So, however, let's get, I guess, something to clean off that, because it's only a little bit. I mean, it's not going to really hurt that much on gasket sealing. Okay, now, I got a trusty old razor blade to kind of get this little piece off of here. It looks like it's just some crud, and I don't really want to scratch up that surface that much, but we'll see. Maybe a little bit of acetone and a rag, maybe that'll work better. Alright, so we're back. We'll take a little bit of this acetone. Well, this stuff's pretty nasty, but hey, here's what it is. We'll clean this up real good. Probably should have just used this instead of trying to use a piece of metal in here. We'll make sure the stuff's really clean. And, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just don't want any raised bumps that's going to make it leak. You know? Make it simple on yourself. Alright. Looks pretty good. Now, these Chinese eBay pieces of crap top end sets, I don't know about them, but you know, like I said, everything's worth a try. I'll save a buck when I can. It doesn't really state which way this gasket goes, so I'm just gonna guess and put it on there. How about that? Because I think you can go both ways with it. Okay, there's the gasket. There's the gasket. Okay, and then I got my needle nose, which is really cool because it came with these clips. Instead of the old style clips that are really a bugger to get in these pistons, with these, all you're essentially going to do is follow the mark. I usually put it on the side I'm not going to work on, which I'm working on the left hand side of the bike. So we're going to put this clip on the right hand side of the piston, because you know, you don't want to have to reach over the bike and try to mess with it over there. Just put it on right here, slide the bearing in and the wrist pin, and you're set to go for this side. So all you do is take your needle nose here. Well, make sure that's the side. I usually put it on you know, that little indentation right there where you can put your pick. I put it in there first and then get it butted up. Okay, it's kind of hard to do this and show y'all, but let's try it out. You just grab it, put it in an indentation, and then twist it. You see how I'm twisting? That's all you do, and this little thing will walk itself in there. Well, it should. Might have to get my other. There that goes. Okay. And basically, all you want to do here is just verify that it's seated and in its home here. And the way to do that is just, you know, look around, which it's not seated in there. I can see it right there. There it goes. Hear that snap? Okay, and then what I like to do on these is don't leave any openings in this part right here. Just kind of turn these 12 o'clock there, you know, 12 or 6, whatever, and that way it's all right. So now get you turned over again. Sorry, I just started doing these videos with this point and shoot I bought off a Canon, which is really great. It's the It's a refurbished model, but hey, you know, like I said, I try to save money wherever I can. All right, so now we're gonna take some of this 2-stroke. I'm gonna poke a little hole in this top right here, and basically all we're gonna do is just kind of put some in the cap, and we're gonna use that as like a little assembly lube, basically. And we'll set that down here out of the way. Kind of get a little frame of that. Man, I hope this shows up okay on for y'all, because it is very hard to strap this on the motorcycle with this little tripod deal. All right, so now we're going to take the wrist pin out. Let's just get the right tool for the right job. Okay. And it's got some lubrication in that baggie, which is good. Ow. Almost cut myself. Yeah, oh well. Get your bearing. What you can do, see the cup down here? Well, no, you can't. I got the cap down here. Just kind of set that in there, get that thing lubricated up, and get things rolling here. Now, most of this stuff's just going to burn off anyways, but hey. Tell you what, we'll take that gasket off for right now because it might get a little wet. We don't want that. Okay. There's the bearing. There's the piston. We're going to take that bearing out. And we are going to put that in the rod, like so. Okay, make sure that camera's straight so y'all can see this. And then we got that other pin on the other side, so you just slip the piston over this. And I like to dip that wrist pin, just like so, in that little 2-stroke oil, and slide her on in there for some good connection. Probably need to back it up with a screwdriver or something. It's just so tiny. I've never done one of these 50s before. I've done a lot of other bikes, but there it goes. Lay my hands up, all this nice smelling 2-stroke oil. Love that WP stuff. Smells good when you burn it too. I used to have, Pops used to talk about bean oil. Castor oil, it used to be castor oil. Smelled like beans when you burned it. I think it's castor R now, but man, that stuff really does smell good. I mean, it does. I'd like to get a handle on some of the old bottles. Tell you what, we're going to clean these up real quick. Alright, now we got the bolt heads cleaned up. These sit down in these holes right here, and they have little rubber deals that go on the side to kind of block out dirt. But they were loaded with crap on there, so I don't know if it doesn't look like they had Loctite on there, so I don't think that we need any Loctite. But I may just dip them in a little bit of oil just for a good torquing sequence here. Alright. Gonna get those started. Trying to cross pattern it here. Just drop them on in there, and you know, you don't want to do just one side first. You want to cross it up and make sure that you got a good seat. That, it actually goes to its home where it's supposed to go. and you can kind of use the ratchet. And for $110, I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. But I'm not surprised or happy about the way this stuff is. But I mean, it's an air-cooled engine, so there's not really much to it. I'm sure this top end won't last as long as the OEM stuff, which I usually am OEM all the way. But I just wanted to make sure that this thing's gonna run and it's worth my money to either keep it or sell it. If I sell it, you know, I can sell it for $600-700, which I may or may not do, but we'll see. And just kind of tighten these in sequence. Make sure you get them all tightened down, because you don't want to tighten just one side and not the other. I need to find the torque specs on this cylinder head. I'm gonna go on the internet real quick and check that. I'll be back. Alright, I didn't find the torque spec, but I've worked on these KTMs enough to know that that's a 10mm bolt, or I think they call that an M10 bolt. And I think that's roughly about 18 foot-pounds on those styles. So I'm going to set up this old inch-pound reader to about 220 inch-pounds. Is converted to about 18 to 20 foot-pounds. I'm not a real big torque monster, but it's 230, it's 220 right there. I'll back it down 5 and call it good. But especially on cylinder head, stuff like that, you want to try to be somewhat exact and, you know, torque it down. So I would say about 20 foot-pounds would be good. And also tighten or torque these down in a sequence. That way you know. And always go back, double check, and make sure that it's torqued down. Sometimes you can back off on them and then re-tighten and see that the actual bolt is stretched. On 4-strokes, it's probably more particular too, rather than these little minis, but hey, you know. Then we got looks like a crush washer. I don't know if I want to use this or not, man. I'm just kind of, you know, it's either that one or the other one, which that probably goes like that anyways. They don't give you no freaking instructions with this or nothing. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I should use that one or the other one, because they're about the same size piston. So I don't know. I don't think the compression would change. Well, then again, it probably could, because looking at the two of these, there's a dome shape, but there's no. See how this one has a ridge, and this one is smooth. This is OEM. I think I'm going to go with this, and maybe take the wire wheel to this and kind of clean that up real quick. Let's do that. All right, hold on a minute. All right, so hopefully you can hear me over this damn compressor. But it clean this up a little bit with the wire wheel. And turned out okay. Oh my goodness! And compressor. about that. Trying to find me an 8mm socket here. Alright. Just line your holes up. You can probably get one started. Whoop, let me get my hand out of the way there. Get one started. And then kind of put it through that gasket down there. Same thing here, man. You just want to, you know, go in sequence and get them all tightened down somewhat in the same fashion. Now these 8mm bolts are smaller, so we're not going to torque them down as much as we did those 10mm bolts, or M8 or M10. These are M8s, and I think these are like 8 or 10 foot-pounds. And let's ask Siri. I think it's 8 foot-pounds. 8 foot-pounds to Newton meters.
Let me think. 8 foot-pounds force converts to about 10.8 Newton meters.
Yeah, there you go. Newton meters. Oh, we don't need Newton. We need inch pounds. Hold on a minute. 8 foot-pounds to inch pounds.
Sorry, Mr. Lively.
8 foot-pounds to inch pounds.
That would be 96 inches.
Siri's trying to calculate feet. What is 8 foot-pounds to inch pounds?
96 inches.
Oh, wow. Well, needless to say, if 220 is that, because I was just using that the other night. I think these are. What's 8 foot-pounds to inch pounds?
That would be 90.
Oh my goodness. Siri is giving me hell today. Let's go on the interweb. 8. I guess the neighbor's barking. Hey, look there, Kyle's converter. There's a converter. 8. Okay, so 96. Maybe it was telling me it all along. I just wasn't listening. Oh boy. I didn't like math or trying to convert anything. Alright guys, back at it again. Sorry I didn't record a lot of this, but my memory card is only 4 gig. I just got this camera and started, uploading these videos because, I figure somebody's going to utilize it at some point. But I wanted to show y'all what I got and where I was at. I think where we left off was I was putting on the cylinder head, and so I've got the bike back together, and I want to show y'all kind of what it looks like. We've got this side of it, which the head's on it. I utilize that one head on there just for the time being, and just went that route because whatever makes sense, I guess. I did put I'm probably gonna have to get some different springs. I think this head, the exhaust nipple or the exhaust port, is a little longer than the OEM one, and I really had to stretch out these exhaust springs. But I went and got a new O-ring from Ace Hardware and put some Permatex on it and all that good stuff. Put some gas in there, and I do got a leak that I found, but I'll let y'all hear this thing real quick. See if we can post y'all up. Check it out. I got me a little stool right here. I can probably set y'all up right there. Well, if this damn camera cooperate, I'll get better, I promise. Just had to get a better mount. This is one of those little tripod mounts. Alright, looks better. See if I can do this with my sock. I think this should be able to do it. Pretty cool, huh? I mean, shit. I ran a compression test on it right before I started it, and I came up with 30 pounds, and I'm like, that doesn't make no damn sense. But again, just like everything else, it's a Harbor Freight compression tester, but I don't know if it was this long ass hose that comes with it. Because it's usually pretty accurate. I mean, it works fairly well. I do leak downs with him, and you know, I never had a problem. But I haven't measured it since. I seated the rings, but I think that was inaccurate, and wasn't reading right. So, but other than that, man, the thing really screams. I was actually surprised because when I was seating the ring down the road, I know y'all two-stroke guys are going to probably hate me, but you know, there's this theory that to seat a piston ring, it has to be under pressure. The actual ring or the spring tension against the cylinder wall does not seat the ring. It's the actual compression of the, you know, the compressed gas and everything like that, which pushes the ring outwards to the cylinder, and then it seats. So I know, you know, some people say heat cycle, some people say, you know, run it till it runs out or whatever. The way I've always broke engines in 4-strokes too is I run them like a stone. You know, I start out, let it warm up a little bit, make sure the head's, you know, nice and warm, operating temperature over 100, 120 degrees, and then I'll run it down the road, which this doesn't have any gears, so I just ran it out and I let off the gas and I let it come down off itself, just basically run down the RPM until it slows down, and I give it gas again. It's that umph, that throttle bearing of just, you know, getting down and getting it, and to me, it's always worked. I mean, I just did my 450 over here about a year ago, and I did a Wiseco piston, and I did OEM titanium valves. I mean, you know, it was one-off $2,000 job, you know, to rebuild the whole engine. But man, this thing screams. I mean, I'm sure all 450s scream, but my bike's the fastest, you know. But however, man, I'm really happy with the overall turnout with this little 50. My nephew's probably gonna ride it right now. He's about 10, so he'll rip up on it. The only thing I did notice though is when this thing was running, the clutch cover was leaking down here, and I wiped it out. I pressure washed the shit out of this bike too, so. But I wiped it out, and it looks like it's still leaking, so I'm going to go to SLM, my buddy Todd Tarver over there, SLM Racing out of Arlington, Texas. And he'll hook you up with everything. He's got KTM, you know, everything. So I'm going to go there and see if I can get a gasket for that. Also, the countershaft seal. I don't know if it's leaking or what, but They usually do. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that. You just take that circle clip off, the cert clip off, and pull the sprocket off and put you a new gasket in there. Usually what I use is a sheetrock screw into the seal, the oil seal, and I'll use a pair of needle nose and just pry it out of the way, and it usually will come out. And then use your rubber mallet when you go back in with it and make sure it's all clean and all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely wanted to show y'all, you know, kind of where I was at. We're gonna be doing some more projects because I got this other deal that I ordered parts for. I got it at the storage unit too. That was $10. That's a 450 Rancher Husqvarna. I believe it's a 2000 model. That's what they were saying. But anyways, it's missing all the guts. You know, the basic. I swear I will get better at shooting this video, but you have to bear with me for right now. But it's just missing everything. So I found everything I needed online, and it looks like I just need the carburetor, air filter housing, a couple flanges, and some hoses, and I'll be set to go. So I went ahead and ordered that. It was like $80, but hey, you know, whatever. I sprayed some quick shot starter fluid in this with a little bit of oil, and it popped off just out of the carburetor throat right here. I just sprayed it down the holes and just kind of gave it a pull. I probably should do a compression test, but you know, hey, I haven't gotten into that because I was working on a Mini. So we'll get that fixed up once that stuff comes in. I think I'm going to go buy a bar for it tomorrow at either Lowe's. So I got the chain that came with it, which it looks like it's in decent shape. It's a 20-inch bar, 3.38 inch chain, and it's got a 0.50 pitch. So we're going to fix that up and get it running. The other one I got, which is the 235, it runs, man. I mean, I smelled the gas in it, and dude, it started right up. And this is the Husqvarna 235, and it also is a 2000 model by the data tag. But I mean, it's in pretty decent shape, man. I mean, for what it is, you know, the chain brake in here is broke. I'm gonna have to buy the side cover. It's all melted. It looked like somebody wasn't taking care of it or didn't clean up the case. But we'll definitely use those this winter. Cut some wood up so we can stay nice and warm in the fire. I've got a lot of new projects that's gonna come up. On my boat, I almost sunk it over the winter, so we're gonna put a new shaft in. I'm gonna rebuild the 351 Windsor that's in there. Probably just buy a long block. Not rebuild it, but buy a long block and change it out. All the accessories, as far as intake, you know, all that good stuff. But yeah, so be looking forward to getting things done. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm always doing projects. I just wanted to start doing video feeds because, you know, it's kind of how I learned on a lot of different things that I was having issues with. I just kind of got on YouTube and started researching, you know, and it helps you out, you know. It's word of mouth and, you know, learning from your own hands there. But however, I appreciate y'all sticking with me. If you got any questions, comments, post them below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.